Hello and welcome to episode one of Cinema Beans. And what better place to start than what is probably my favorite movie of all time, Magnolia. It is the movie that jump started all of this. The reason I have this channel, the reason I write about movies, the reason I watch movies constantly, talk about movies constantly. Magnolia is the one that took my hand, led me into the world and said, Travis, like this is it. Like this is what is out there. This is what beauty looks like. This is what profundity looks like. Here's everything you need to know. I feel like that's an accurate description of Magnolia, which is one of the most over the top, expansive, sprawling movies I've ever seen. Yet it all takes place in one day. The locale feels so small. It all takes place in the same area. And honestly, not a lot happens in terms of movies. There isn't a lot of movement or anything. People are only in a couple of places and have conversations with each other. It's almost incredibly straightforward, yet daunting at the same time. Like the story is so simple, yet understanding everything that's going on in it could take you a lifetime. And it has taken me a lifetime. I've seen this movie so many times. This particular viewing, though, I hadn't watched it in a few years. This might have been the longest break I ever took between watching the movie. I used to watch it all the time, and I can still to this day pretty much quote every line before it happens, which is impressive, I would say, because there are a lot of lines in this movie. But yeah, I'm really excited to do both this channel and to have my movie ranking list, which you can find over on filmcolossus.com. I'll include a link to it below, where we are ranking every single movie we watch. Like we have 2022 rankings, where I'm ranking all the new movies I watch. But these all-time rankings are for any time I watch a movie. So from 2022 onward, it's my ranking of every single movie I watch. And it'll be really fun to go back and revisit movies I know I love and have seen a million times and rank them on this list. It's honestly my motivation to go watch those movies again. And Magnolia is one that I first saw 16 years ago. I would have been 18 years old, freshman in college. And yeah, this is the one that did it. This was what made me start going to the library, using my student library card, and just checking out as many movies as I could, and never doing homework. Although I feel like what I experienced was better than homework, and I learned a lot more from it. Anyway, Magnolia, I can't wait to do this channel, though, and write about it every single time I watch the movie for so many years to come, because my relationship to them, like it's like a relationship to a person. Like it's the way you interact with somebody, the kind of emotional relationship you have with somebody, what you're getting from them and not getting from them, that's all dependent on you and where you're at in your life, where you're at ideologically and psychologically, mentally, how well or not well you're taking care of yourself. And Magnolia has come a time in my life where I feel like I have done the best job I've ever done of taking care of myself mentally and tending to past trauma and realizing who I am and pinpointing my insecurities and anxieties and tracing them and seeing where they come from and finding ways to overcome them. All of that stuff. I mean, if you've seen Magnolia, like that's Magnolia. That's what you're confronting, all of these characters who are head on confronting. I used that word twice. I don't like doing that, but I couldn't think of anything else. All of this baggage they have and how that baggage dumps out into other people in the world and lays for everyone to see, and how you can feel so alone in your loneliness, yet, and in your trauma, yet that loneliness and trauma is what binds us all. You think like nobody can possibly relate to what you've gone through, yet every single person in the world can relate to what you've gone through. Not the physical things maybe that you've gone through. For instance, I was never a genius child on a quiz game show, so I can't exactly relate to Stanley and Donnie in Magnolia, but I understand what they experience with their fathers, with their family, feeling misplaced, feeling overlooked, like you're not really seen. All that stuff. I mean, that's all stuff obviously we can relate to whatever thread you start pulling, whatever direction you go. Like you can find your into these characters. And I just love how their trauma and loneliness is displayed. It's such a, it's so movie like, in quotes, movie like in the way it's presented, the way it moves and flourishes, and just like the camera movement and how expressive the characters are and how good the acting is. Like it's all entertaining in that way, yet it's also very intrusive. It's kind of daunting. It feels a little bit too intimate. Like it's a little uncomfortable in how intimate it is. It's really forcing you to confront everything going on in this movie and reflect it onto yourself in a way that I just don't think any other movie's ever done. And what's funny is, 16 years ago, I probably wouldn't have realized or thought any of this. I mean, it was in my nascent stages of movie watching. I was still figuring out how movies worked and what made movies good and profound. But more than anything, I think I had yet to define my relationship with movies. I knew I was moved by them for some reason. I knew I was experiencing a form of art that had prowess and had more to it, just like mechanically, I guess. Like it's still moving to this day to watch how Paul Thomas Anderson weaves in and out of hallways and connects scenes together. Like it's all kind of cool and showy in a way that's like, wow, like I didn't know something like this could exist. Like that's really great. But beyond that, I think I had yet to define this movie and lots of other movies that I connected with aesthetic. The aesthetic is kind of the culmination of the art form. What is the piece of art conveying ideologically? Like, what is it telling you? What is it? What universal truths is it exploring? How does it apply to your life? The aesthetic of a movie like that is ultimately what I've come to decide defines like a great movie and a great filmmaker, is that ability to hone in on that aesthetic and make it lively, make it feel alive, make it come at you, make it part of this bigger experience that you're stuck in, that you feel like you're a part of. That is so insanely difficult to do because the aesthetic depends on so many things. It depends on the acting, it depends on the cinematography, it depends on the settings, the colors you use, the score, the lighting, all those things like feed into the mood and feel you're trying to convey, and ultimately the ideas you're trying to convey, which is why I feel a lot of movies are empty these days, which is kind of a cruel thing to say about a movie because people try so hard to make works of art, and it's kind of a mean thing to say, but like I ultimately come away feeling that way about a lot of movies because I can't figure out what the aesthetic is trying to tell me. The aesthetic maybe feels all over the place. Maybe it just feels flat out barren, like it's not saying much, like it's not utilizing all of the techniques a movie gives us and allows us to use to explore a topic and a mindset. It's a very tricky formula to perfect. And to me, Magnolia, like the way it depicts loneliness, the way it depicts these people in their lives and this particular moment in their lives and how they try to find catharsis, try to get that slight pivot they need to put themselves in a better direction. The entire movie is that it's consumed by that idea. The way it shows, I have a bunch of photos I took. Maybe I should have planned to do this. Let's see if I can pull these up actually. I could go through some of these. This is a impromptu moment. I'm going to use some of these for an article I'm writing about. The shot of this child who's watching this woman being dragged away for something horrible that she did. And he's just like alone in this shot. And he connected with this woman's son who was killed by a shotgun blast from her. This isn't much of a spoiler, by the way. It happens immediately in the movie. And the connection those two boys shared, yet like one of them is gone, and this one boy like understood what the other boy was going through, but no one ever will again because he's gone. It's very daunting. What two kids know? It's almost like this. The title of this game show is almost laughing at the idea that we should be respecting kids and like thinking about them more than fixtures on TV we can ooh and ah at. This search for a higher presence, wanting something. I guess I should blow this up a little bit more, shouldn't I? Here, is that better? Yeah, it's about as big as I can get it. The search for a higher presence, something that connects and binds us all, something that's going to bring you answers when you can't find what the answer is. A shot of here of Jim in the office alone. The colors, the hues of the movie, I read that they tried to make it all feel like a Magnolia, like the greens and the browns and the off-whites, and how that energy can kind of consume the characters of the movie. Loneliness, not understanding children, like the way we perceive them, the way we write about kids, and how like we are literally chronicling this detachment from society, like this box we're putting them in, how we like try to put some sort of identity on them before we ever let them find their own identity. I mean, there's just so much in this movie that has that energy, that I could go into for days. And I actually do plan to make a video about it, so probably was pointless to look at all these screenshots. But still, that's what this movie's all about. Like that is, I was blown away by how much I connected with it, and how much, in this past years, I've come to work on myself and realize all these things about myself and these obstacles I can overcome. I know I can overcome. That is this movie. The most defining scene of this movie is a moment where all the characters, like an out of body moment, sing a song. They sing the song "Wise Up" by Amy Mann. And the song, that's kind of the attitude of this movie. The attitude isn't get over your problems, it's wise up. Because it's going to keep happening. You can overcome this. Like you can be the one that powers yourself past it. It doesn't forgive people for things that they do, but you can be your own God in that way, which I think that's an interesting commentary in the movie. As Jim looks for God, he doesn't realize that it's right there, that he has the power to find love in his life, to push himself past his loneliness. It's just so incredible how it's all done. And aesthetically, of course, yes, but then just stylistically, entertainingly, it's the most watchable movie ever. I watched it with my wife, and we were 2 hours into it. It's a 3 hour and 15-minute movie, and she couldn't believe it. She was like, I can't believe we're only 2 hours in. Like, it feels like it's still moving 100 miles an hour. There's still so much more to explore, and I'm so excited to watch it. I can't think of any other movie these days made like it. Anytime a movie comes out these days that's 3 hours long, I shudder. The Batman, I'll talk about the Batman. Everybody loves the Batman, but that one, I mean, that for me was a slog compared to Magnolia. It's a living and breathing movie. It's life itself. It's everything to me. So I was very happy to watch and rank Magnolia. As you can see here, it's ranked, sorry for the ads playing. That's really annoying, isn't it? Let's go up here. It goes in my all-time favorite category. So far, I've watched 6 of my all-time favorites that fit into this category. It is with Elite Company here, and it goes above all these other ones. You can see 2 Paul Thomas Anderson movies in the top 10. Big surprise. And yeah, okay, that's it. Like I said, super excited to come back to this movie again someday, talk about it again. Maybe I'll make a compilation someday of like me aging in this video as I talk about Magnolia. That would be cool. And self-indulgent. Okay, well, thanks for watching. That was fun. Easier than I thought it would be to talk about. It was Magnolia, so I guess that made it easy to just talk about my favorite movie ever. And of course, there's a ton more I could talk about, but I want to keep it contained, reflect on how I felt about the movie in this moment, and then leave future videos for expanding thoughts and exploring more about this movie. Okay, thanks for watching.